Has it been easy or difficult to keep the lads grounded after the last game?
I wouldn't say easy, but it's been pretty normal in terms of a week. It's nice coming off the back of a good performance and a good result for sure, and it puts a good energy around the place. But I have to say, is there a lot of difference between this week and the week we had before it after West Brom around the training ground, around the group? No, they're pretty level, the boys, and as a group, which is great to see, and certainly not getting too carried away by the game at the weekend.
And Swansea, sort of historically a bit of a tricky place to go for Borough in recent years. I think no wins in 7 games or something like that. Does that make it more of a challenge, or considering the form you're in, less of a challenge?
I'll be honest, I'm not really one for that. I think teams change that much. Squads, coaches, managers, different leagues. So I think in terms of history and results at certain grounds and certain teams, me personally, I don't look into that so much. We understand we're going there to play against a good team that really tests you and like to play a certain way and are good what they do. So we'll take it for the game and the team that we're facing for sure, and we'll respect that.
And the little tussle between yourselves and Sheffield United at the moment, was it a bit of a kicker watching them win the other night?
No, to be honest, it's that's something we can't control. So I'm not getting too involved in that. They're a good team, Sheffield United, and they'll be expecting to win a lot of football matches, just like we're hoping and expecting to win a fair few ourselves. And that's probably why we both are where we are in the league at this moment in time. But it's not a case of staring them down and looking at them for the whole time and what their results and who they're playing and how they're playing. And we've played them now. That's it until the end of the season. So we're concentrating ourselves and as many points as we can get, and then see where that takes us.
The impact you've had here in a short space of time has obviously been paying. There's attention elsewhere. Reports today in the papers, West Ham interested in taking you. Should they sack David Moyes? Any truth in that at all?
Listen, I think I started at West Ham as a young boy. It's a fantastic football club. I know David well. Obviously played under him. I have huge respect for him. So I think for me to comment on anything is hugely unfair, and I wouldn't do that. What I will say is I hope that they have a really fantastic end of the season with David and the club, because it's a fantastic place and David's a good man. I really wish them all the success.
For now, you're happy here at Middlesbrough?
Yeah, I'm delighted here. Why wouldn't I be? We've got a terrific club, terrific group of players, loving working with them. Looking forward to a big end of the season.
I think you were linked with Spurs as well this morning, which obviously 2-year-old teams, Michael, but I suppose that just shows how well you've done in a short space of time here, and it must be pleasing, although you don't read too much into it, it must be pleasing if you hear that.
Yeah, in some ways, I'll be honest, I don't really listen to it or watch it and listen to it. It's not something that really bothers me. I think we judge what we're doing here kind of ourselves, and we're kind of our harshest critics in some ways within the group of how we want to get better, and judging myself and the staff and the players as that, and what goes on the outside goes on the outside. I've kind of over the years hardened myself to that, so I don't tend to pay too much attention to that. Obviously know what's going on, but just loving being here at the moment with the players and the staff and the club in a really good place.
Well, you'll say there's a long way to go this season, and of course there is still 11 games. It has been some transformation under you in the 20 games since you joined, though. Have you, in some ways, and has the team in some ways maybe exceeded the expectations? Could you have seen yourself being up there after taking over in 21st?
I didn't really look that far ahead, to be honest. I think it was a case of coming in, learning about the players, learning about the club, and seeing how far we could go. And that's not changed. Who knows where we'll end up. We'll try and do what we can do to win games and see. But probably not. If you had said, was it 4 months or so, I've lost track of the time, but maybe 4 months. We probably wouldn't expect to be here, but at the same point, probably hope that we'd win get off to a winning run and have a good run, because I believed in the players that we had.
When you see what you've done here, and when you see the change in many of the players, if not all, there seems to have been such an improvement in many of them. Does that justify your decision to come here, and does it make you realise, you know what, this was the right decision, this was the right club for me?
Never questioned it, to be honest. So until you've asked me then, I don't really think about the decision. It was just instinct to felt right, and certainly feels right at the moment. So got no reason to feel any other.
It just felt like you had quite a few options at the time, and I remember you saying that it felt right here, maybe compared to other places. Yeah,
it did. I've always just gone with my gut instinct on decisions, however big or small, and certainly coming here felt right. Still feels right, and enjoying being here every day with a good group. So looking forward to trying to keep improving us, really, me improving personally and my staff and the players, and seeing where we can end up.
One of the players who's improved the most, I know you've spoken about him a lot this season, is Chuba Akpom. Yourself and him both up for the monthly award for February. We'll find out tomorrow. 18 goals for him in the 20 games since you joined, having sort of brought him back into a slightly deeper role. How amazing has it been to see and be involved at the forefront of that?
Yeah, this is fantastic when you can have someone within your team who scores a lot of goals. Yeah, someone in my position, fantastic. The bigger thing for me is seeing Chuba grow, really, as a player and as a person, and having a sense and a taste of scoring goals and the success, and he's using that as motivation and kind of to push himself even more. And I say it's almost a form of greed in the nicest possible way, where you get a taste for it. Some people kind of get a taste for it and achieve certain things and then think, oh, that was fantastic, well done. Others think, oh, I want a little bit more of that, or I want more, I want to improve and I want to get better and I want bigger and better things. And for me, the way Chuba's gone around is he's learning all the time. He's desperate to take information. He trains really well, and he's a big part of the group, as we've seen. Very unselfish in certain ways with giving the penalty up last week. So credit to him for that. But for me, that's, seeing that side of him in the drive that he's got now is more impressive than just the goals.
I was going to actually ask you about that next, because you mentioned the greed and the hunger there, but he's shown the opposite side of that, the team player that's in him as well, which is pretty impressive given he's potentially going to be the top scorer in the league, to give up that opportunity to someone else. Yeah,
of course, mate. Chuba knows he wouldn't have scored them goals without his teammates and without the squad, and it takes a bit of everything, and like you said, there's not really a better example than that of how much he appreciates his teammates and how much he's driven and motivated for success, because you need a good team, you need a successful and a good balanced squad and a good spirit, and we've certainly got that at the moment.
And I know you say you're not just looking at Sheffield United all the time and you need to concentrate on yourselves, but in some ways, do you enjoy the chase? Do you enjoy sort of being looking ahead and thinking, like, let's try and catch them? Does it give you something to aim at?
I genuinely just enjoy the challenge of us becoming better, really, and trying and seeing players improve and thriving and gelling together and clicking, and becoming better as individuals, becoming better in units, and become better in seeing them coming to work every day smiling and desperate to work hard. And believe me, they've worked hard this week. They've really worked hard, and it's great to see. So that is purely, my motivation is in my satisfaction, if you like, is seeing them grow and become better players and better people.
Is that as big a challenge as anything else, when the team is doing as well as they are, ensuring that they keep their feet on the floor, ensuring they come in every single morning and go at it again? Because I suppose with some players at different levels that might not always work, but is that one of the biggest challenges for you as a young manager?
I haven't found it as a challenge, because the group's been so strong and so stable and so consistent. And I have to say the biggest challenge in football at the time is consistency, and whether that's consistency through training week or through a 90 minutes game, or certainly over a period of time, consistency kind of finds you out in the end, and you can either put it together and you've got the the ingredients, if you like, of the mental capacity and the physical capacity and the technical capacity to kind of go again and do it again and keep improving, or you can be a little bit sporadic and do all right, do play well, and then maybe not so well. And so that consistency is the biggest challenge. And I have to say, from the results, yeah, we've had a couple of little blips, but I don't think we've really had dips in performance for any period of time. We've been pretty consistent, and that's credit to the players as individuals and as a group. Yes, of course, I'm here to kind of steer them and help them, but seeing them play well consistently and enjoy themselves consistently is really good to see.
Thanks. Cheers, Michael.
Michael, just one from me. You talk about consistency and awards, we've been talking about them. You've already been nominated 3 times for the Manager of the Month award, and you've not been here that many months, and Chuba won the Player Award in December, he's nominated again. Is that as good a badge of showing consistency as much as anything is over the past 6 months, that you keep getting nominated for this stuff?
Yeah, I suppose. Look, I can't hide from it. Yeah, it's not something that I'll go out, craving to achieve in terms of Manager of the Month, but I guess it comes on the back of good performances and good results and the good work that the players have done over recent times. Of course, you're judged on where you end up at the end of the season and where we'll find ourselves. So that is what we're thinking about really game by game and what's gone on has already gone on in the past, and we'll look forward.
But if you did get these perspex, would there be room on your mantelpiece for that?
Listen, it's not. It is what it is, as I said, it's not something I'm craving to achieve for myself personally. It's just more about improving the squad and improving the players and being part of it, which is fantastic. And then whatever comes of that will come of that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Cheers.
How's Paddy? Is he training okay? Is he back? Is he passed everything he needs to pass?
He's kind of been back. He's got there's processes that he's kind of still got to go through a little bit. So we're hopeful, but we're still waiting to see.
I mean, in him, Dale, and Dara, you've got 3 centre halves who every time they've kind of had to step in have done the job for you. Really, I mean, are you someone who kind of ideally would like to keep a centre half pairing together, and if it's going right, don't switch it, or are you quite happy to take one in and out if specific games lend themselves to specific attributes?
I think it depends on the players a lot of the time, really, and the boys have showed that whoever's played has been more than capable and played very well, and slightly different styles between the 3 of them complement each other very well. They're getting a good test in training because the forward boys of playing well. So in some ways it's great because training's going up because of that, and they're testing each other. And flip side, the forward lads have got a challenge to score goals because that's the beauty of having a good squad, of pushing each other all the time. But certainly the 3 centre halves they've all done fantastic. Whoever plays we're comfortable with.
And we've talked a lot about Chuba and his goals and everything, and I mean, obviously, he was scoring goals when Matt played up front, he was scoring goals when Marcus played up front, but how much do you think of how well he's done in the last month has been down to Cameron and the fact that they do seem to have gelled, and Cameron obviously a very active striker, makes a lot of runs, creates space, etc. How much of what Chuba's doing is down to that, do you think?
I think probably just as a group. I think as a team, as a group, I think we've improved, and which is good to see. That there's still believe there's more to come and there's room for improvement. But I think it's probably not down to an individual. I think it's more of a collective thing, and appreciation for each other and creating space for each other in different movements. And it's probably that really, rather than an individual. That's made such a huge difference at any moment. Yeah.
Anthony was called up internationally today, wasn't he? We're heading to international times. Hayden Hackney obviously was called up by Scotland in November, having had previously played for England. Do you get involved in any of that, kind of talking to him about where he sees his future and who he might end up playing for senior-wise?
Yeah, of course, I'll be here to help and to guide him. It's a very individual thing as well, to who you want to play for, who you see yourself, what country your ties lie, or your family, or that it's very individual. But of course, I'm here to speak to Hayden and the boys and try and help and guide them when they need it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, but on that, how much would it help his development to play for whoever at under 21 level? How important is that chunk of kind of international football?
Yeah, it can be important. Of course, it can be. It's any experience that you can get, I think, as a younger player is a good experience in terms of different styles of football, different little challenges. I have to say that obviously how he's taken to this since I've been here and the challenges that he's faced here on the back of a loan last season, he's improving all the time here, but he keeps his feet on the ground, and I get the impression he's the type that whenever he faces a challenge, he'll kind of enjoy it, you know, and relish it. And
But he's really
he kind of showed that last year with everything at Scunthorpe, in fairness, didn't he? Because I can't imagine there were easy times there with everything that was going on at that club, and yet.
But that's the beauty of it sometimes, you know, we're all searching for the perfect loan of, well, player goes somewhere and, you know, maybe he didn't play every game, didn't seem to be playing the right type of football. But I think it's an experience sometimes like that can really trigger something and kick you on to a different level. You know, AJ, obviously he's an Aston Villa player, but he went on loan to Cheltenham as well, and like you say, the different experiences when you're younger, I think, are invaluable. And
just last one for me, Zach, who again, you know, has had a little bit of ups and downs in his time here for a start of the season. He certainly got taken out at one stage, but how important has he been for you, and how much has he, you know, if there was any criticism, he's more than resoundingly answered it, hasn't he, with the way that he's played under yourself? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've never been criticised for me. I think he's been a big part of what we do. I think, going back to what I said before, it's not an individual thing. It's a collective thing, and having a good team, you know, out of possession in front of him, protecting him, a good back four protecting him, and obviously he's a big part of that unit. And on the flip side, his distribution, his composure, and starting a lot of our play off from him is vital for what we do. And yeah, he's done great for us. On the flip side of that, though, does it cause you any difficulties in terms of longer term planning? That I think we'd all be fairly realistic about the fact that potentially it's going to be very hard to sign him, partly because of Man City, partly presumably because of, you know, money, etc. How do you plan around that? Because he is a really big part of what you're doing at the minute, but he might not be here come August, well, come June. Yeah, that's just the challenge you have all the time, is the evolution of players coming out of contracts, players where you got on loan that possibly go back to the other clubs. Possibly you might want to look at keeping them. That's an ongoing thing, and constantly trying to find the right solution and balance it, and get you. And timing's important on a lot of these things, and you know, where you are in leagues is a big part of that, and what players want to play in for certain clubs and what certain leagues or whatever, you know, there's so many things that come into it. So it's something obviously we're looking at, and we're getting the balance, and we're planning for the summer, and we'll have a clear plan going into the summer like we did in January, and make the best of it. Do him and Ryan, though, both show the real benefits of getting Premier League loans right, if you can, as a Championship club? Because, you know, there's a very real suggestion that you wouldn't have been able to get that quality in either of those positions had you not loaned from the Premier League, if you were trying to buy from either within the Championship or further down. That's always the balance, though, isn't it? It's you know, between what players are available, what players how you want. Some clubs are happy to take loans, some prefer to have them as their own players, and it's as I said, it's always the balance of what's available, what quality, what positions we need as a club and as a team. So the boys that you mentioned there have both had terrific seasons and are playing very well, so it's great to have them.